Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of Race 3 of the inaugural season of the Champions Motorsports Truck Series here tonight. Man, it's great to be back after a 2-week hiatus, but tonight we're at the virtual Worldwide Technology Raceway for 200 miles, 160 laps of racing. Going to be a long one tonight. I'm Alec Martinez, and right to my left side here, over here, Eddie Smith, my partner, my producer. Good to have you, Eddie. It's been a long 2 weeks, like I said, and tonight we're back racing under the lights here at Gateway. 200 miles. What do you expect? One of the most unique tracks in all of motorsports here tonight at Gateway. What are you expecting for these truck guys?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to be back. It was just the horrible 2 weeks of I didn't know what to do with myself, and we're back with the Champion Motorsports Friday Night Truck Series. So here at Gateway, going to be a fun track, a flat track, sort of a weird, odd shape, sort of like Motegi, but a little bit shorter and a little bit flatter. So we're going to see guys shifting, doing some things a little bit differently, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So looking forward to getting this thing rolling. I'm going to talk a little bit about the track right here as we show the track information here and show what it looks like, and you can see where the turns are just different. You've got a tighter turn 1 and 2 and a longer 3 and 4, so you're going to really have to drive the corners differently. You can't drive them the same. So, but you see 1.25 miles, 78,000 people that can show up to these races, and it was the oval itself was opened in 1997. So Gateway, also called Worldwide Technology Raceway, but yeah, I got about 15 seconds left in qualifying here. Alec, how you feeling about tonight, and are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. It's been 2 weeks, like I said, and man, it's good to see these guys back in the trucks, and yeah, it's going to be a much different race. We talk about being here at Gateway, one of the more unique tracks that comes into the NASCAR schedule. I know just recently added to the Cup Series schedule in 2022, but I'll tell you what, these corners so different. You're going to have a bank turns 1 and 2 at 11 degrees, trying to model about a Darlington kind of corner, and then turns 3 and 4, more like a New Hampshire kind of corner, close here, and I love this background, right outside St. Louis, Missouri. Nothing better than that, and man, I tell you, truck racing, truck night here on a Friday night, nothing better, and I tell you what, it's going to be good, and that means let's push us down to our grid here as the truck's loading up, ready to go. Brett Stevens on the pole with a 33.912, his first pole of the season. Doug Betts will be to his outside, then in third, newcomer Michael Parker will be rolling off third. To his outside will be Chris Hudson. In the third row, we'll have Larry Ford starting in fifth. Dennis Crosby will be starting sixth. Brian Shabelski will be starting in seventh. Miguel Colon, 2 weeks ago's winner, last race winner at North Wilkesboro, dominated that race. We'll see if he can do it again, starting eighth. And then in row number 4, Kyle Smith, the points leader right now. He's up in ninth, and Davis Braun will be rolling off in 10th.
Yeah, Anthony James in the 11th position. Rodney Campbell in that 12th position in that 62 Toyota Tundra. Starting in 13th is Gabriel Albino in that Ford F-150, and David Anderson, the boss man himself, in 14th. In 15th, Max Cost, and in 16th, Mike Tyler. 17th is Kevin Ayers. 18th is Jay Dargert. Starting in 19th is Alex Maynard. And round out your top 20 is Stephen Knight. Starting 21st is Jacques Richard and Pierre Robital. Starting in 22nd. And that rounds out the field. You talked about the point standings there, Alec. Let's bring that up and let's check it out as we will see where everybody is in the standings. Just a couple races in, you see Kyle Smith, Miguel Colon with those 2 wins and sitting atop the point standings by quite a lot. So it's going to be a tight points battle, looks like, between these two drivers.
Yeah, those two they've won both races. I think you got such a short season. It's going to be who can put together the consistency all year. We know Kyle Smith's been consistent. Miguel Colon has been consistent. So it's going to be up to maybe Dennis Crosby, David Anderson, Scott Kennedy, maybe any of these guys here that have a chance. And I know we have the 50-plus category as well. And I believe that David Anderson is leading the points in that one.
Yeah, not too sure on the 50 yet, but that's going to be a fun battle to follow as well. So
yeah. Hey, well, you know what? It's Friday night. Gateway here, going to be a long one here, but 200 miles, 160 laps, the pace truck pull off. Before we get going green, I got to ask you, Kyle, who is your pick tonight?
Well, my name's not Kyle, it's Eddie. But I
You're
think
right,
I'm going to
Eddie.
go with
It's
Kyle.
Eddie.
I'm going to go with Kyle. Kyle sounds like you set me up. You put the ball on the tee. You put the ball on the tee. I'm going to knock it out of the park, and I'm going to say Kyle Smith with that win coming from 9th place.
Hey, I like that, and you know what? I'll tell you what. I loved his long run speed last week, and he's starting on the pole. I think Brett Stevens comes home with the victory. First one of the race, but as they go into the restart zone, green flag is out. Underway from Gateway. Here we go. 160 laps, 200 miles here in St. Louis. And there you go, lap 1 on the board. Brett Stevens leads him into turn number 1. Chris Hudson from 4th all the way back up, or all the way up to 2nd. Doug Betts back to 3rd. Crosby looking up for 4th, but he's got a battle from Miguel Colon already moving up through the field to the outside of the 22. That 87 seeming to be on the move. Same with Kyle Smith in the 55, moving up there. Colon up to 4th. And man, that 87 looks like it's got pace already here. Coming to complete lap 2 side by side behind the 22 of Crosby. We got Michael Parker, Davis Braun. Now Kyle Smith inserts himself into the battle here.
Yeah, already side-by-side racing. That's what you're going to have to do. You got to be careful. It's going to be tough to make these passes. Indy Raceway Park is sort of similar at the way these tracks run. And so you're going to have to really set up your passing. It's going to take a couple laps to get it done. You see Michael Parker and Kyle Smith still side-by-side. And speaking of Kyle Smith, we want to highlight all the guys that got the driver cams tonight, as we really appreciate them. It really adds to the broadcast. So let's highlight Kyle Smith, your points leader at the moment, as we try to get his camera up real quick. And as he gets a little bit loose, but he's driving with one hand, so that may be why. You see, he looks calm and cool and collected with that win already on this season. So we got Kyle Smith on the cameras here tonight. And then, of course, we've got the boss man himself, David Anderson, who is currently in the 14th position. Look at the brow. It's just completely, I mean, his eyebrows almost come together in a unibrow as he is so focused in on what he's doing, but currently in that 14th position. And then, of course, we got the boss man himself, one of the hardest drivers that we've seen so far in the series, with Dennis Crosby in that Ford racing background, looking good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's got
He's repping the blue ovals right now. He's the highest running Ford up in 6th. He just got passed by the Toyota Tundra of Kyle Smith. And now for the lead, Miguel Colon showing the muscle early, going for the lead here into turn 3. He'll take it away from the 86 of Stevens. And now Stevens back to 2nd, losing that clean air. We talk about these trucks, aerodynamics huge on these trucks, especially a track like Gateway, narrow lanes, narrow lane choice, a little more spread out in 1 and 2. You can kind of move around, but a big thing about 1 and 2, downshifting. These trucks are going to be shifting down into 3rd gear and then upshifting down the backstretch. I'm not sure if we'll be able to hear it on Colon's car here, but from what I can tell, it does sound like a little bit of downshifting going on here, especially later in these runs. You're going to see that be a big part in getting rotation, especially in traffic.
Yeah, in 1 and 2, you definitely want to downshift even early. And you hear Miguel Colon actually downshifting in 3 and 4. Usually what you'll see is guys taking it a little bit easy in 3 and 4 and just running.
Doug Betts up into the outside wall there. Sorry about that.
No,
following Kyle Smith, he lost it right up into the outside wall. Not too much damage on that 3 truck. Little bit of a scratch there. Shouldn't affect it too much. I'll tell you what, that 55 Kyle Smith, we saw the camera. Very calm, cool, and collected. Well, I can tell why. He's got a fast Toyota TRD Tundra. He's moving up to the field. Chris Hudson, that STP truck, doing a great job as well, being able to hold it in 3rd. But I tell you what, Kyle Smith, I think if he can get to Miguel Colon, we're going to see these top 2 in points really, really battle it out here for the win.
Well, and good Lord, he's got plenty of time to do it. 160 laps, that is an eternity here. So, really, he's got plenty of time to be patient, but neither one of those guys being patient. Miguel Colon driving right up to the front. Kyle Smith on his way up 5 spots. Miguel Colon's already up 7. So we were showing the cameras, we just completely missed. He just completely blasted these guys. So he is currently lapping almost 3/10 faster than almost anybody in the field. So last lap, Miguel Colon, 34.3 The only person even close is a 34.4, which is Chris Hudson. Oh, my goodness, there's contact between Kyle Smith and Chris Hudson as they make a little bit of contact there. But hard racing early here on lap number 8.
Yeah, track position is key here, especially at Gateway, but I think Chris Hudson looks like he's holding up these guys a little bit. Not carrying the greatest of lap times, and that's allowing Doug Betts. And how about the 24? Davis Braun just got by Dennis Crosby for 6th, and now he's looking down to the inside for 5th here to crack inside the top 5. That 24 truck starting to move up a little bit. Looks like a little Jeff Gordon throwback there with DuPont on the hood. But that Toyota Tundra all moving up there. Betts kind of slides up the racetrack there, almost catches the wall again, and then this allows Braun to clear for 5th. And like I said, I think Chris Hudson doesn't have the pace that Kyle Smith has in the 40 or in the 55. That 43 just doesn't seem to have the drive off. The 55 continues to get a run, just kind of stuck in traffic right now. But that 24 truck is also starting to make some hay up to the front as well.
Yeah, up 5 spots along with Kyle Smith. So, this is an open setup, Leaves, as we look at the race analysis real quick. Open setup, 160 laps like we talked about, the one fastest pair. But something I wanted to kind of bring it up, besides the fact that it's open set, we're kind of seeing the difference between who might have a decent setup and who may be struggling a little bit in that department. But 3 sets of tires tonight, Alec. I think that's a really important point that we need to bring up as we're watching this battle between Kyle Smith and Chris Hudson continue as Kyle Smith gets a little bit loose off the corner. But 3 sets of tires for 160 laps. Alec, if you're in that scenario, what's your thought process knowing that I've only got 2 tire changes? That's only 2 pit stops for tires.
Use your tires wisely, I would say. I mean, what do you got? You got 2 tires or 2 sets of tires in the pits?
Yeah, if you got 3 total, that means you got 1 that you start on and 2 that in the pits.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm looking at this battle between Chris Hudson and Kyle Smith. Smith all over the back bumper. Just can't seem to do anything. And I'll tell you what, the 86, my pick, unfortunately, he's just struggling with the pace in that truck. He just doesn't seem to have the rotation through the center. And Hudson and Smith have actually caught the 86. But I tell you what, are you willing to risk going 2 stints on tires? Are you willing to go maybe 100-something laps on these tires? You got to do a good job saving them. But is it possible to save 2 tires? And if you get a caution later in this race, well, everybody has 30, 40 laps on their tires. You take tires. 40-lap tires will get you to the front, no problem, I feel like, even if you have an all-right truck and it doesn't seem. Because tires, I think, will be a huge factor in this race. Right now, they're just about a second off pace from their original time. So tire fall-off is big. If you're going to use the sets wisely for cautions, I'm not sure how many laps on field they're going to get as you're going to see the 55 of Smith get up to the outside of Hudson. This might be what he needs. Oh, he just gets loose off the corner. Can't do it, man. Chris Hudson giving Kyle Smith a run for his money right now, and I think Miguel Colon is loving this. He's pulled out to a 1.2-second lead, but Kyle Smith trying everything he's got right now to get around this 43. Is he going to use the bumper? It's early in this race. Now Smith crosses over the 43 Hudson, going to try to side draft him down this backstretch. Doesn't pull up to the quarter panel yet. Now, just staying even with him should have the advantage going into turn number 3.
Yeah, that's what he needs. And talking about tire wear, as he does complete the pass to move Kyle Smith up into the 3rd position and continues his march towards the front. But, I think, the shifting thing is what I'll be concerned with when it comes down to, saving tires and not saving tires. Shifting down to 3rd, while it does give you great drive off, it really does heat up those rear tires and can make it very, very difficult. So, I don't know. I don't know what the right call is. I think maybe if you're able to kind of stay in 4th gear and not light the rear tires up, I think you might have an advantage at the end of these runs, because we know in this series it's going to trend sort of in the green flag direction. So.
It will, as Kyle Smith just took 2nd away from Brett Stevens in the 86. Chris Hudson now closing in for 3rd place on the 86, as well as the 24 Davis Braun. Braun has kind of been in the footsteps of, Smith really loose off the corner there, and look at Chris Hudson gets a massive run down the backstretch. He'll get by Steffens, who was trying to check up. He might get back to Smith, but Smith wheeling the truck off the corner. Now another product possibly of downshifting in this truck here, getting loose, lighting the rear tires up, and a good save, but cost him a little bit of time, and it allowed Chris Hudson to get an easy pass on the 86 of Stevens, and that allowed Braun to catch up as well. And going back to the tire thing we were talking about as well, if you pit twice, how many laps on field can they get? I would assume probably about 50 to 55 laps is possible. So does that mean you're going to set up 55 laps and then to lap 110 and then to the end? I think that's a useful strategy that can work. And maybe even, do you want to stretch it as far as you possibly can on fuel and get the best amount of usage out of your tires?
Yeah, I mean, the strategies are going to be interesting. Anytime you have like really low sets like this, you always maybe in this scenario where you might, under a pit stop, depending on how the fuel is going to go. And, we don't really know what the fuel run is yet. We'll know soon, but it might be a scenario where somebody actually comes down pit road and elects not to take tires, just fuel only. And if the fuel sort of works out that way, you might have to. You might have to come down pit road on one of these stops, and it's sort of like it's almost like an F1 race where you have to decide, when do I want to take my set of tires? Do I want to take it early, or do I want to have it at the end? So this could have some strategy implications that could be pretty interesting by the end of this thing.
It could be. And you got Doug Betts, who's just passed Dennis Crosby there for 6th. And then behind them, Michael Parker, Larry Ford, kind of reeling in, and I kind of want to see, does Rodney Campbell have his camera going up here? Because he is in a battle with Brian Shabelski right on the 85. Shabelski getting the 10th position, but Campbell crosses over down the backstretch, looking down to the inside of the 85 truck, and he'll get down there to the quarter panel, but it's going to be close here. It's so hard to make a pass here at Gateway, especially no side force on the side of the trucks when you're underneath somebody. Shabelski gets the run out the corner. He'll clear the 62 of Rodney Campbell. Then how about behind them? Max Cost, the 63 truck. We're used to seeing him on V-Speed races in the BTDY Racing Series and even on Saturday nights in the Saturday Night Racing League. So good to see Max Cost doing a little truck racing here on Friday nights. Gabriel Albino right behind them in 13th. David Anderson 14th right now. Kevin Ayers 15th in that 58 truck. He was fast at North Wilkesboro. Doesn't seem like he has as much speed as he did there, but still a long way to go. Mike Tyler, Pierre Robitaille battling there inside the top 20 here for 16th. This field, there's a little bit of battles all the way around the racetrack. Stephen Knight and Jay Dargert are even close together. Maynard, Anthony James, and Jacques Richard are kind of straggling at the back, but they're close to each other here, so always a possibility of position changes right now as Miguel Colon has a 1.4 second lead over Kyle Smith and a 1.7 second lead over Chris Hudson. And then these 4 trucks, second all the way back to 5th. It's kind of all together as Crosby underneath the 30 of Doug Betts. And Betts slides way up the racetrack there, but didn't get up to the outside wall there, although Betts did get the wall early in this race, and I wonder, is that affecting his truck?
Yeah, I mean, he's already slid back 5 positions from where he started up near the front, so just struggling a little bit. It's hard to say if somebody's struggling or just taking it easy. This first little run, especially to the first pit stop, I'm not putting too much stock into it unless I'm talking about Miguel Colon, who seems to be just head and shoulders above everybody else. Now, I will say, though, Chris Hudson, Brett Stevens, a 10th faster than Miguel Colon the last lap. So as we go up here to the 3rd position, that STP truck's actually on rails. We thought maybe Kyle Smith would get going and he'd get up there and battle with Miguel, but right now, the 43...
Oh, Kyle! Loose off the corner again. Oh my goodness, he's sliding off the one. Like you said, Chris Hudson's going to get a nice run down the back.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if 23 laps into this race, if guys aren't starting to fall off pretty quickly. With the open setup, I think it's always a trap to a lot of guys will go out and get setup shop setups, and that's fine, but you just never know how these things are going to react sometimes. So what you have to be paying attention to, a lot of guys, when they do open setups, they go out and they run qualifying laps and they try to get these fast laps down, and that's the speed in the truck, but they don't work on the long run. And so you'll have guys that can really fire off quickly but start to fade. And Kyle Smith, while he's up 7 spots, it does seem like he's starting to fade just a little bit.
And I think we saw that even at North Wilkesboro. He was really fast first 20, 40 laps, and then his tires would fall off. Remember, he made 2 or 3 great saves there. And I'll tell you what, even at North Wilkesboro, we saw where Brett Stevens had, I think, the best long-run truck. He was catching Miguel Colon, who was the dominant truck that day. And he would catch him in the long run, and Colon and Stevens were battling for the lead. I wonder, though, is the long-run pace, it might be good for Stevens, but is he losing too much on the short to mid-run to really make that up, and especially losing 3 positions from starting on pole? you never know. But I think Chris Hudson, like you said, has the pace. I just think Kyle Smith being ahead of him, that track position matters. Miguel Colon's really in a good spot. He's got the clean air, and then even Kyle Smith, he's got a good enough gap to where he's getting some clean air to the nose. So I think Hudson has a little more pace, and Smith just doesn't have the rotation. He looks tight center, loose off, and he just doesn't get the rotation. He just can't seem to get that run down the straightaway. He's just sliding off the corners, and I'll give him credit. He's doing a good job, but I keep seeing him moving wider and wider into turn one, and I don't think you want to do that. The higher up you move here, the worse your truck is starting to handle.
Yeah, as he does seem to be slow. Oh, and he slides a big slide right there that opens the door for Hudson as he's going to get the run down the straightaway. So it's exactly right on cue. Yeah, here comes Stevens as well. So, yeah, Kyle Smith with that little bobble. He's going to fight back, though, on the outside. He's not going to give up that track position, talking about how important it is. And he knows how important it is. He's going to fight for the second position. He's not going to give it up easy.
Cologne is loving this. He's saying, boys, battle it up, because this is what exactly we want to see. But Smith, he just looks a little bit too loose off these corners and these long straightaways. You don't want to lose momentum here, especially in the NASCAR Craftsman truck. He's loose again. This is going to allow Hudson to get by. Now Stevens looks now to the inside, but he'll tuck back in line. Now Hudson gets that second position away from the 55 of Smith. Can Stevens or Braun try to do anything here? Kyle Smith starting to just struggle on exit there. You can see it right there. Those are your tires, not happy.
Yeah, I wonder if he didn't get up through the field and was really making a lot of passes, being aggressive on the shifts. And we talked about it. Got to be careful shifting down to third on both ends, as it really heats those rear tires up. And if you know anything about iRacing, once you get the heat up, it's impossible to get it back down without just babying those tires. So he's really got to be careful here, as it could be disaster really, really quick if he's not too careful. So wonder if he didn't get up there and try to be aggressive, try to run down Miguel Colon, and just use those rear tires up, because he is definitely going backwards now.
Well, I'm curious. We got the camera on him. I'm wondering how much is he willing that car, as now Stevens looks to the inside of Kyle Smith. And Smith, we talked about, he's loose in these corners. He's fighting hard, but now he just loses one position. He might lose two here to Davis Braun. And you can see him. He's counter-steering that truck a lot. He's struggling here, and I think you're starting to see him a little two hands on the wheel this time. I think he's starting to realize this truck, he's got to baby it now. Miguel Colon, who he's battling in points, is leading this race, and he's got a 2.3-second lead. He's losing a little bit of points to him right now, but he's got to cushion the blow. I think you lose track position here, that's fine. Get ready for the next run. Keep the tires under. You do not want to wreck this truck right now.
Well, and what's interesting about this race and exciting to see if they can do anything about it is, under pit road, they have quite a few adjustments they can make. They can make a wedge adjustment. They can make tire pressure adjustments. They can make, I believe, track bar adjustments. And so, while Kyle Smith's struggling here at the end of this thing, he can go down pit road, be thinking about what he wants to do, and maybe adjust this truck to maybe be a little bit better. You see he's loose off the corner again, and the 24 actually cuts him a break there. But yeah, still loose is that 55 truck, your points leader, going backwards. So I wonder if he's going to be able to make some adjustments and try to help that 55 tighten up at the end of these runs, or maybe just change your driving style. Don't be so hard on them early. So there's all kinds of ways with open setups to try to make a difference here.
I'll tell you what, I know we have our double box, and I'll tell you what, this is a good battle between Smith and Braun, and then another good battle just outside the top 10. Max Koss, Rodney Campbell, and Gabriel Albino. Those guys have really been going at it here, and you can see now looking to the inside goes Braun. Just can't do it here. But yeah, I'll tell you what, there's a little bit of battling all over this racetrack. Koss having to battle Albino there in the 13. Albino looks like he'll clear, and that opens the door as well for David Anderson to get down to the inside as well. He'll look for 14th, now looking for 13th on Max Koss. Koss struggling with the front end of that truck. He'll lose one, now two positions to David Anderson and Gabriel Albino, and Koss back down to 14th. But Kyle Smith really struggling still, and these guys still going to, heck, even behind them, Pierre Robitaille and Kevin Ayers are going at it there. That's for 15th. And Robitaille Ayers going at it as well. And Kyle Smith continuing to hold on Davis Brown. A lot of action all over this racetrack as the race continues to go on and this run continues to go on. As Robitaille really loose on the bottom. Everybody struggling here at handling as these tires get older and older. And I'll tell you what, at the front, though. This gap for the lead, Chris Hudson is closing it up quick. He was three seconds behind. Now he's only 2 seconds behind, about 1.9, just under that. He and Brett Stevens, are continuing to work their way up closer and closer, and I believe Miguel Colon is running in to lap traffic as well. Just lapped Anthony James and now Jacques Richard as well.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to Pierre Robitaille. What is this paint scheme? I got to know. I got to know what your opinion is on it. Is this a Christmas wrapping paper scheme, or what is this, Alec?
To be honest with you, I don't really know. It looks like it's Christmas in July apparently, but hey,
it's wrapping paper. Yeah, let's go.
He's getting the holiday spirit going. We got trouble on the racetrack. Caution is out. Not sure where that is at. Oh, it's Dennis Crosby and Davis Braun are around in turn 1. Oh, and Crosby gets hit by Campbell. I'm not sure what happened. I think we missed it there looking at Pierre Robitaille's truck. But caution comes out for the first time tonight, 35 laps into the race. Now the tire conversation comes up. Oh, that's going to be a big wrench in Miguel Colon's plans here, who had a 1.7 second lead there before the caution came out. I'm curious to see what happened.
Yeah, let's take a look at this replay. Yeah, let's take a look at this replay. It looks like it was 3 wide with the lap truck Kyle Smith and the 24 of Davis Braun as we go check out the V-Speed replay here. You see them 3 wide here on the front straightaway crossing the start-finish line. And the lap car just lets them go, but the 24 and the 55 going to make contact, and then the Dennis Crosby just nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. Yeah, that was one of those gateway wrecks. Kyle Smith trying to arc the corner and right there 3 wide with Anthony James, and then you have Smith struggling and Braun, who's been stuck behind him, trying to get around them, trying to get his opportunity. And it looks like Smith kind of came down, and that way that angle is going into turn 1. There's really just nowhere. The truck just slides up there, and I think that's just a classic racing incident here at Gateway. On board Dennis Crosby, you could see, just meeting for the same lane, same space. There's not enough space for 2 trucks there going for the same piece of real estate there. And Crosby, not too much damage, I don't think. And I know Braun's going to struggle there with those tires. Now, speaking of tires, Davis Braun did bring it in. David Anderson brought it in. Max Cost, Kevin Ayers, Alex Maynard, Stephen Knight, I believe. Maynard stay out, but Stephen Knight, Dargert's in here. Mike Tyler's in here. Interesting to see. What will this do as I believe getting the fast pair there for Davis Braun. Interesting here. Interesting strategies. So it looks like David Anderson will be the first truck on fresh tires. Oh boy, what will this do for this next run? 35 laps, 37 laps. Yeah, 35 laps of the tires. The top 14 has stayed out. So 13 stayed out.
Yeah, I really feel like it's too early to come down for that set of tires because of caution. If we go green the rest of the way, I think it's a good call. I really do.
Oh yeah, if this goes green the rest of the way, I think they can. One of those guys has a really good shot at winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's so you just never really know how this is going to play out. I mean, you're giving up the end of the race, and what do we know about the end of the race versus the first part of the race? Is they're usually a little bit cleaner at the beginning, and then as we get closer to the end, that's where the intensity starts to pick up. And if I'm going to have a set, if I have to save one by just coming down and just taking fuel only, I think I'm going to save it early because I know that we can go green here, and while those guys will be able to get out to a big lead, they're still going to have to come down pit road and not take a set of tires at some point. So I'm just not sure how this is going to play out, but a lot of guys, I mean, from 13th on back, come down and take their first set of tires. So that's really going to change how this race is going to look, and I think, at least for us, Alex, it's going to be really exciting.
It's going to be exciting, that's for sure, and that's what we love here when we're broadcasting here on V-Speed 2. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the race so far. Still a long way to go coming here to lap 38, coming to complete lap 39 under caution. So, I mean, this has been a good race. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and how about this, man? It's great to see as we're coming to 1 to green, I believe, this time by, and just to note, our sponsors are IRTES, flagship of multi-sports car class series. Always love to go here and love to see them race. If you like racing on the roadside, Champion Motorsports always has you covered, and as well as the Champions Circle, a premium VIP Discord subscription with great perks and special benefits. And, of course, Storm Gang, They're doing a great job as well. Storm Gang Simulation, an in-house top-of-the-level modding group for R Factor 2. If you like racing some R Factor 2 and want to help improve their simulation, go out and contact Storm Gang Simulations. Do a great job on the R Factor simulator. And as well, if you're a member of CMS, Champions Motorsports, you get exclusive opportunities to enjoy and race on their content, as we'll be coming to green here with 120 laps to go, as Miguel Colon has pretty much gotten the lead on lap 5 and has kind of ran away with it. So far, not too bad here for the 87 truck. But Chris Hudson, he was running him down this long run. They got 40 laps on the tires. Does Hudson maybe have something to say for Cologne, or maybe even the 86 of Stevens?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see as the tires cool back down who, we've got quite a few people moving up to the front who can sort of get up there and battle with Miguel. I don't know how early you want to get up there and battle, but we're going to find out. We're going to put a little picture-in-picture real quick. We're going to get it back here with the brand new tires, and that way we'll have that for the restart.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. As into the Geico restart zone they'll go. Miguel Colon, Chris Hudson in the restart zone. Oh, Hudson spins the tires there. Colon gets away nicely. 3 wide for second between Smith, Stevens, and Hudson now into turn 1. Old tires, 40-lap old tires to be exact, as Colon gets away. But here comes Stevens at the 86. Clears Hudson off of 2. Now, what will the fresh tires do? Where will they go?
Yeah, you see down in the picture-in-picture, Max Cost thought about making it 3 wide, but actually backed out of it, knowing that we've got a long way to go. You want to use those tires to your advantage, not put yourself in a bad position. But you can already see right into the middle of the corner, that's where those new tires are always really good. You can see he just immediately has the drive that he needs to get up under him.
Big gaggle of trucks in the back from about 12th on back from Cost. Then you got Anderson 3 wide with Campbell, Braun, and Dargert. Dargert sends it into the corner. Campbell way up the racetrack. And now that's going to set up an even bigger stack up off of turn 2. Anthony James, and I believe Mike Tyler in that as well. And these guys just sorting it out. But these fresh tires, what will they be able to do here in about 10, 15 laps? Especially once they go, the older tires get on a heat cycle. That car, I think the truck to watch is going to be Davis Braun, Max Cost.
Davis Braun has made a ton of moves on that restart because everybody else is kind of taking it easy, but we saw Davis Braun up at the front, so he knows he's got the speed, and he was not playing around. He went up to the top rim rod at one corner. You see he's really driving it hard into the corner. So Davis Braun really trying to put these new tires to work if he can, so we'll see if he can get up through the field. But so far, I'm a little surprised. Matt Koss not even up to the back end of Pierre, so they're not making up too much ground here, as Miguel Colon is actually the fastest truck on the track.
And it makes you wonder, are these guys maybe saving these tires? They know what they have, and they got to save them, because remember, they only have one more set left in the pits. Is it worth saving here? And then later in this run, maybe going on attack mode. I think Cost is realizing that, maybe, saving these tires. He's raced against some really good guys that know what they're doing, Cost. He's got experience a lot more than maybe some of these guys who are more comfortable with road. What is this going to do for them here, or what does Cost have a chance of doing here as this run continues to go on? But they've kind of separated into about, you got the top 4 broken away, and then it's Betts in 5th with Parker, Shabalski, Ford, Crosby, Albino. They're all there. Robitaille as well. Then you got Cost, the first one on fresh tires. It's going to be interesting to see as this run gets longer and longer where he's able to end up here. But I think right now, this battle for the lead, though, Colon, he's got pace. He's got the clean air. I think Stevens might have a little bit better. He's just kind of trapped behind him.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe a new set of tires not really worth it. Now, there is still the possibility, Alec, that these guys came down pit road and got fuel only, although quite a few of them were over 14 seconds. But, a couple of these guys, 11 seconds, David Anderson, Jay Dargert, they were 11. So, contact with Max.
Cost and Campbell around on the front stretch. Does this bring out a caution? It doesn't, surprisingly. And no caution for that. Wow, I'm surprised by that. But Rodney Campbell and Max Cost, big contact off of 4. A lot of damage. We'll go to the picture on the bottom. It looks like they just ran out of real estate off of 4. Big contact for Cost. I think Cost got the worst of it, though. And a little bit of damage as well to Rodney Campbell. Now that shifts the first car on, which could be fresh tires, to Davis Braun. And I think about it right now, maybe Braun got his damage fixed. I don't know if anybody took tires on that restart. Maybe just getting some fuel only, maybe some damage fixed. right now I don't see the lap time. The lap times are all about the same. I don't think anybody took tires.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe some did.
It's one or two things. It's either they didn't take tires and they're electing to save tires to just get fuel, or a little bit of damage fix, like you said, or they, the tires just don't make that much of a difference, which is still a possibility. So, but this battle for the lead, though, Alec, is really picking up, man. This Brett Stevens. He showed that he was really strong the last couple weeks. Maybe didn't get the what he wanted. As Miguel goes way up the track there. I'm not sure that's going to help him out. So Brett's going to have a nice run down the straightaway.
It seemed like it helped Miguel Colon there, using that outside lane and carrying the run. Surprisingly, a little more multi-groove than I thought Gateway would be here, especially in the nighttime. But yeah, like you said, Stevens, we talked about Wilkesboro. He had a really good truck long run. He didn't have a great truck short run. And Miguel Colon had that short to mid-run truck and then kind of fell off long run. You got 50 laps on the tires here, or just about 50 laps on the tires here. And Stevens is starting to work his way up. And I'll tell you what, lap or two ago, Larry Ford got really loose off of turn 2, and he was able to save in his picture. Got Betts getting passed by Michael Parker in the 23. Parker starting to show some speed late in this run. That 23 Ford F-150 is starting to move up there through the front. Oh, excuse me, that is not a Ford F-150. That is a Toyota Tundra. That is a Toyota Tundra is moving up there, and Doug Betts kind of getting a little pressure from Brian Shabelski, the 85. Haven't really talked about him much. He's starting to work his way up to the field as well.
Alec, I want to highlight something as we watch. They go down in the corner. Watch once Miguel Colon gets on the throttle. You can see the whole side. Of course, he's up in the top line. But as we go into turns 3 and 4, watch how much that truck is yawing out when he gets on the throttle. He is really leaning on that right rear to grip up off the corner. Watch this snap-on truck. You'll be able to see the whole left side of that truck. You see the front end yawed out. I mean, he is really giving their business, trying to get off the corner. And while he's still doing a great job of keeping it together, Brett Stevens just hanging right back out there. It doesn't look like Brett is really driving that hard off the right rear compared to Miguel. So just completely different driving styles and strategies. But I think Brett seems a little bit stronger here.
Yeah, Stevens seems to have drive off. He just doesn't have the turn and rotation. I think because he's running in that dirty air. And I tell you what, in turn 22, and even in 3 and 4, they run about an identical line. And Stevens just gets that left front tail light underneath just gets it under where the 87 is running, gets some clean air to the nose. But I noticed in 1 and 2, and we'll have the camera on him here as Stevens getting a nice run down the front stretch with the draft. They'll go into the corner, but look at the difference in lines that they're using. Stevens a little bit lower, Colon way up the racetrack, but off the corner, Colon gets such a big run down the straightaway. It's like he uses the outside lane, gets more momentum, and it carries him all the way down the straightaway, where Stevens hooking it down a little bit lower. It works. He's getting good drive off, or he's getting good center speed. He just doesn't get the drive off that Colon's getting. But I wonder, is Colon pushing those tires just a little too hard?
You can see the hands inside the wheel of that 87 truck getting busy up off the corner, and here comes Brett Stevens with a run. I think the difference here is in this particular type of track, a flat track like this, it's almost like you have to cash in your rear tires if you want to make a move, like what Brett Stevens' position he's in. He is in position to try to make a move, but you have to cash in on those rear tires. You have to throttle up off the corner on the bottom, really push those rear tires, maybe even spin them a little bit to try to get the run you need to get by somebody. So is it worth the attempt to cash in on those tires here now to make a move? You really got to be patient. Wait for the run at the right time, and then whenever you decide to push those rear tires, you make sure you make the pass, because if you don't complete it, you'll find yourself similar to what happened to Kyle Smith.
Up the track goes Miguel Colon. That too hard. Up into turn number 1 now. Brett Stevens, who seemed to have the better truck, finally to the inside, but Colon ain't going to give up the lead too easy. Colon sends it up to the outside lane. Stevens has a little more rotation on the bottom. Colon way up too high. Doesn't get the run off, but he gets loose out the corner, and Brett Stevens from the pole position fell back to the front and back to the point. The 86 truck gets the lead, and now here comes Chris Hudson closing up on the battle. But man, Miguel Colon, he ain't going to give up yet.
Yeah, that was a fantastic
he got way up too high.
Yeah, Brett Stevens
and he did it again.
Incredible job of being patient on that and getting by him on the bottom side is here comes Chris Hudson to try to take advantage. Miguel just trying to fight as hard as he can on that outside, but we already saw he was really struggling with that exit.
Oh, we got trouble in the backstretch. Pierre Robitaille is around, and it looks like he's hit the inside wall. A lot of damage there. A big hit. That left front tire is pointing right.
Yeah, that's major damage. We'll see if we can go back and see what happened to him. But yeah.
Miguel Colon up and into the wall. Off of turn 2, the 87 catches the wall with the right rear tire, or the right rear quarter panel, and that allows Chris Hudson to get by. Colon now falls to third as a picture-in-picture with Pierre Robitaille. Looks like just loose off the corner, and a hard smack driver's side to the inside wall there, and that's going to unfortunately end his night, I would assume. Actually, he has a fast repair, so he might be able to get back into this, but he's taking tires. Interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I mean, if you're going to come down under unscheduled pit stop, have to take a fast repair. Might as well get tires, work your way back up through the field with that extra little bit. So interesting to see if he can do something with that.
And speaking of tires, does maybe Miguel Colon, just as I said, does he want to come in and get tires now? 55 laps. Oh, he's in the grass! He's up and into the infield grass! He missed pit road, and now he's going to lose even more time going through the infield, and now back onto the apron he'll go, but it's going to cost him valuable time.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to see Miguel have that issue. He just, you haven't gone down pit road just yet. It's the first time they've gone down under green, so just a tough deal there. We'll go back and see exactly what happened when he after he makes his pit stop, but yeah. It's always tough when you're trying to get down on pit road, especially on old tires, and trying
I think we got some more guys pitting here. Doug Betts coming in. Kyle Smith coming in as well. Interesting to see. Yeah, I think he cut the grass up with the left side tires, and it messed his entry up, and then he got the right side tires. Good job hanging on to it, but that's going to cost him a valuable time. And that's going to allow Brett Stevens to kind of choose what he wants, maybe wait for Chris Hudson instead. Hudson about even times here with Brett Stevens, so not too much. And I always wonder about that stand right there. I guess they can go through it. They're good. But yeah, Kyle Smith also bringing it to pit road. What will this do? How much time will they gain here as Miguel Colon leaves pit road here? Didn't seem to get a penalty. It seems 14.2 second pit stop. We'll see.
Yeah, you don't get a penalty. You don't get a penalty for entry. You'll get a penalty for exit. So you could drive through the grass, up to the wall, bounce back, and come back down. As long as you get back down on pit road. So.
What I worry about here, we're gonna have a lot of difference in tire life, and we'll get to see it here in the middle of 3 and 1 and 2. I mean, look at this. The speed. Tires matter so much here, and it makes you wonder with all these guys coming out on fresh tires. What will this do if a caution comes out? These guys are going to be trapped a lap down. And remember, in this league, no lucky dogs. You can get a wave around, but no lucky dogs, as Dennis Crosby brings it down to pit road and get to the attention of his pit crew. Kyle Smith was able to jump the 87 to Cologne.
Yeah, not by much, though. Cologne is right there.
I think Smith realizes he's going to let him by.
Yeah, so
Kyle maybe going to save those tires.
Yeah, you wonder if Kyle didn't take a set there. I don't know. It seems like it seems to be the case because he is well off the pace from what Miguel Colon is. So I wonder if Kyle just came down pit road, did fuel only. Yeah, I mean,
we'll see his lap times. I'm not really sure.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Miguel has just driven away from Kyle. There's no way he took tires. It just can't be because Kyle's actually on fresher tires. So.
Well, we'll see. Maybe Smith's saving his tires. Maybe something. There's Chris Hudson.
He's a second off the pace, Alec. He is definitely did not take tires. Yeah. And he is still slipping and sliding too. Yep.
Yeah, interesting strategy is Chris Hudson has brought it to pit road, and that means Brett Stevens will also bring it to pit road here.
Oh, and he is flying. Oh, my goodness. Brett Stevens flying into pit road.
Barely made it. And now Michael Parker also in pit road. That'll hand the lead over to the chief in command, if you so will. David Anderson will assume the lead of the race here, and Rodney Campbell right there as well. Good recovery for Campbell. Now, when does maybe David Anderson want to bring it in? It's been 25 laps since he's pitted. Did he take tires is the question, because if he did, he could go a lot longer than some of these guys.
Yeah, just based on speeds alone, because right now, I mean, we're seeing the tire difference of Miguel Colon and Kyle Smith. because as Kyle Smith is now in the low 34s. These guys weren't even close to the low 34s, so I just wonder if they just went down and got fuel because they're going to be able to run quite a bit longer. And
I think you're going to have to say, I think Kyle Smith did take tires there.
Yeah, because he's back on the money. So I don't know what he was doing there early because as he let Miguel Colon by because he was a second off the pace, but he is definitely up to speed now.
Yeah, and David Anderson, you got all these guys fresh tires. Just stay out of the way as much as you can. Don't want to get in an incident. If a caution comes out, he's got a lot of guys trapped to lap down. So, I mean, he's not in a bad spot if a caution comes out. We'll have fresher tires, and some guys going to need this race to go up a little bit longer. Maybe another 10, 15 laps for tires to really, really matter to equal out with the 86, the 43, and the 87. But you know what's funny? Chris Hudson was able to get around the 86 of Brett Stevens. And if this race cycles back out, Hudson will assume the lead of the race unless Stevens could get around him. We saw Stevens had a good long run truck. Hudson, I think, was right with them. Maybe this track position call might be the difference for Chris Hudson, but Miguel Colon is catching these guys. We know he had a really good long or mid-run truck, short to mid-run. He's got a lot older tires, but man, he's digging right now.
Yeah, all these drivers are really getting with it, so they are not waiting around. As check the track temp right now. Track temp 79 degrees, so there's all the grip in the world you'd ever need, especially with brand new tires. So these guys are really able to really to get on down. Looks like Chris Hudson had a little bit better entry and exit on pit road. Spent a little bit less time in the pit lane, a little bit slower stop. So interesting to see Chris be able to leapfrog, but he did pit the one lap before Brett Stevens, so that could have been the difference. But yeah, he does have the track position right now, and sometimes track position could be king. We've already seen how difficult it can be to pass. Brett Stevens, though, has been one to be able to make it happen. So I think this is going to be the race for the lead right now, as these guys are all on the lead lap, even though David Anderson's still in the lead. They were able to get their lap back, so no danger for these guys. All your major players are back on the lead lap, and so the caution does come out. It's still between these guys, I believe.
I look at your screen here. Looking at the screen, I don't know what happened to the laps, but time is now becoming a factor. Can they get another 100 laps in 53 minutes? I don't think they can. I think we might be racing to the timer.
Oh, that's a really great point. I hadn't thought of that. I thought about that at all. I wonder. We are already 45 minutes into this race, so we have about 53 minutes left, and so we do. How many laps are we at now? Lap 66. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be close, isn't it?
Might be. Now, my question is, if these guys that just pitted 40, what did they do? 60 laps on fuel? And if it took us 45 minutes to get about 60 laps, what about the guys that are going to pit now? Will they be in the preferred position if these guys have to pit again? Because you think about David Anderson, Rodney Campbell, Max Koss, Kevin Ayers, Stephen Knight, Mike Tyler. They might only have to pit once, where Chris Hudson, Brett Stevens, Miguel Colon, Kyle Smith, they might have to pit twice. They might have to pit 2 more times.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think with the timing and scoring, and with the time taking over, I think even the time and scoring thinks that the race is going to run out of time with versus the laps that we can run. So I think you're right. I think that strategy coming down and taking at least fuel there on that first caution may turn out to be the right strategy. You're right. They're going to have to make another. Now, the difference is right now, I mean, Miguel Colon is Chris Hudson's about 15 seconds out and is lapping about a second and a half faster than David Anderson. So I think, a lot of times with short tracks, which this is a little bit longer than a short track, but the way that it drives is similar. There is still a call that if these guys can't keep their lap times up, that 2-stop strategy may turn out to be, a decent, may be able to get it done. So it just depends on how fast they're able to run. Like I said, right now, a second, 1.2 seconds faster each lap Chris Hudson is than David Anderson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, right now, the battle is for second. David Anderson's 2 seconds ahead of the guys right now, second on the racetrack right now. Rodney Campbell, Max Koss, those two got into each other early in the run, and they seem to rebound pretty good, but still 2 seconds behind your leader, David Anderson, right now. And the question is, Acosta seems to have a little more pace. Cam away at the racetrack there, almost catches the wall, and Kevin Ayers right behind them as well. Could you want to pull a strategy where maybe you pit when they get to you? Oh, Cam away at the racetrack there. Oh man!
Boy, almost gets into the wall. It saves it though.
And allows Ayers to get there too. And Ayers will get another position. He'll move up to third. And if Akashi comes out right now, these guys are going to be looking really, really good. I can tell you that. But Dennis Crosby just unlapping himself as well. A lot of guys trapped a lap down, but now it makes you wonder, if they can get to maybe another 30 laps, do you want to pit when maybe Chris Hudson, Brett Stevens, Miguel Colon get to you? I think that's probably another viable option, because from there, I think you can outrun the time. You can run the next run to the end of time, up to the time limit if we get there, unless we get to lap. But by my calculations, I don't think we're going to get to the full distance. I think we're going to get time.
Well, I'm going to lean on you for all that. We're doing 4D chess up here in the booth, and I've got enough stuff going on as it is. So I'm going to leave the 4D chess to you, and I'm just going to let it happen, and I'm going to watch it, because trying to figure this out.
To watch.
Yeah, because I just don't know. Is it going to be laps? Is it going to be time? What strategy's right? What strategy's wrong? I have no idea. Yeah.
It's kind of like racing the rain. You don't know what's going to come first. Is the scheduled distance going to come first, or is the rain going to come first? I think we could say it's like a rain race. You're racing to the time. You're racing to pretty much the rain, if you so will. So this is going to be interesting. And right now, Chris Hudson and Brett Stevens have pulled Miguel Colon about 2 seconds, and these two are right on each other. Like they're close to each other. If everything were to cycle out in a normal situation, once these top six pit, this will again be the battle for the lead. And Hudson's doing a good job holding off Stevens right now. Again, 1 lap older tires, and as this run goes on, that 86 gets better and better.
Yeah, that's a great point. Brett Stevens is in the catbird seat for sure. I think he's in the best spot to win this race, and they're still closing up really quick. A whole second faster, these two are than the leader. So they are each lap knocking off a second. That's in 12 laps, they will be in the lead. So, they're really making up a ton of time.
Trouble in turn 1. Mike Ford into the outside wall with Kevin Ayers. And this is not what Chris Hudson and Brett Stevens want to see, but Larry Ford up into the outside wall with Kevin Ayers. Hard hit to the outside wall in turn 3 up against the outside wall. Larry Ford, big damage on the right side, and a lot of damage to the 58 of Kevin Ayers as well.
Yeah, looks like a little contact as Larry Ford went around Kevin Ayers. Kevin Ayers got a little bit up out of the groove here, so go check out the replay. And goes down low.
Yeah, Ford had a good run, and then let's see what happens.
Oh wow.
Drove it in a little bit too deep there, and oh man, hard hit there. And I'll tell you what now.
Oh, there we go. Now we're getting a little bit more of that picture. It looks like the Ford gave him a little shot. It looks like Kevin Ayers comes down to give him the block, actually lets him go, and then just sends it down in the corner. He said, I don't appreciate that. And so, unfortunately, though, it takes himself out. Yeah,
that is not good there. And now look at the strategy now. The top 6 are bringing it in. Chris Hudson is bringing it in, and Brett Stevens is bringing it in.
Yeah, I think that's the right call.
Miguel Colon stays out.
I think that's the right call. Taking tires under this caution has got to be the right call. I think you got to. If you want to win this race, I think that's going to be the call for those guys to come down pit road. So
I love a good strategy race like this.
There's
How about
so
Max
many.
Cost? David Anderson. I think Anderson's just going to edge him out of pit road. But Anderson and Cost will be the first 2 on fresh tires, as well as Rodney Campbell. Brett Stevens, good pit stop there. I think Stevens might have taken 2 tires. He sure did. So that'll get him a little more track position. Knight, Tyler, and then Hudson, who took 4 as well. But how about the boss man, David Anderson? Is going to be the first guy on fresh tires here. 16 lap fresher tires than Dennis Crosby. 19 laps fresher than Miguel Colon in the 87, who's reassumed the lead of the race. Kyle Smith, leader of the points. Top 2 of points, 1-2 right here. And how about Davis Braun? Up in 3rd again. And then you got Shabelski, who's got way fresher tires than Colon, Smith, and Braun. And how about Dennis Crosby? He's got the freshest tires of the guys in the top 5. And then everybody behind them, no tires at all. And I think you're looking at what I'm seeing. Jay Darger and Michael Parker are going to be, and Pierre Robitaille are going to be taking the wave around, and they'll be getting their laps back. So that'll put 60 trucks on the lap once we go green. But man, what a race here so far tonight. Now, again, the question is, are we racing to time or are we racing to the scheduled distance of 160 laps? I don't think we will be. Is what if I'm seeing everything right, I don't think we're going to be racing to halfway.
Yeah. I mean, under this caution, we're going to get to halfway, and
we're going to get to halfway, so it is an official race.
We have 48 minutes, and there's already been 52, 53 minutes at the same speed. So we've had a couple cautions. So if it goes green, it could get there. It's going to be close. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Well, if it goes green, my question then becomes, what about Miguel Colon, Kyle Smith, Davis Braun, Shabelski, and Crosby? Those guys can pit maybe and still have enough of a pit stop. And remember, they have tires. They have one more set of tires in the pits where everybody else does not. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be one of those things where I just can't wait to see how it plays out. I don't know what's going to happen, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this of oval races. Sometimes there's just so many different things that can happen. Cautions can fall at the wrong time, and right now we don't know if it's going to be time. We don't know if it's going to be laps that's going to end this thing, and we don't know everybody's tire strategy. I mean, at this point, because we don't get fed this information, we don't know who's still got tires, who doesn't. And so we can only make assumptions and guess based on pit stop times and stuff like that. I mean, even Brett Stevens, we don't know if he took 2 tires or just fuel only.
He definitely took 2. I saw the right side get jacked up. So
well, that's interesting. He basically threw away a set of tires there. So interesting call there, but
interesting to see.
Yeah,
and gets track position. He knows he's got a good long run truck, and now fresh tires to go on this. Max Cost Max Cost did not take tires that pit stop.
Interesting. Well, my goodness. Well, we're not gonna be halfway. We're gonna go green right at halfway, and then get this thing going. I can't wait to see what it's gonna be. I know Miguel Colon would like to just kind of scoot away from all this because it's gonna be it's probably gonna be a mess.
Kyle Smith ain't gonna let him go either, and I think Kyle Smith is not gonna let him go here. So the pace truck will pull off and pass the 5-hour energy signs and into the Geico restart zone. Will this be to the TAF, or will this be to time? Or will this be to the scheduled distance of 160? Green flag back out in the air. And Miguel Colon gets away good, but here comes Davis Braun looking for third. Kyle Smith in second, tucks behind the 87. Braun to the inside. Shabelski, fresher tires than those guys ahead of him. Can Shabelski play spoiler and get the lead? Same with Dennis Crosby.
Yeah, get a great run off the corner. Now he's right on the back bumper of the 55. He's looking fast. We haven't really talked too much about him so far tonight, but the cream always rises to the top. Shabelski is one of those guys. So already,
Chris Hudson's pitting. I think there might be a penalty at Chris Hudson, or a problem for the 43 truck. He is pitting again. Trouble, Big Rick off the 2. One truck up into the air. Goes, I believe, was that Mike Tyler or somebody up into the air? A hard hit into the inside wall goes Darger, and there's another truck, no front end. I think that might have been the truck up in the air. I'm not sure who that was. A massive hit. I think that was Larry Ford again. Massive hit to the outside wall.
Yeah, we'll see if we can figure out what happened there. Looks like the one truck was slow here on the, oh my goodness. It looks like the 62. Well, let's get the replay up right here as I tried to find exactly where. Try to see who that was. The 244. I don't know who that is.
I think that's Larry Ford in the 244 that got turned around.
Yeah, we'll go on board with him and watch. I think there was a slow truck. The 13 was really slow, and then he tries to kind of check up right here, and he's going to lose that truck.
Let's see. Yeah, he got loose, and oh my goodness, what a hit there. Almost upside down twice. Oh, hard hit for Jay Darger in the 57. I think that truck broke in there and then back to the inside. I'm curious to see, was that him getting loose off the corner and spinning, or a little help there? I think he just got, looks like he got loose off of 4 and nowhere for Albino to go, and contact there, and he just gets sitting right back up the track, and really nowhere for Mike Tyler to go. Drives right underneath him, head on hit, lifts that truck almost up and over, and then the weight shifts to the right side, and then Darger almost drives underneath him, and he pretty much does, right under the left side, lifting that truck up again. and then, oh my goodness, hard hit to the outside wall for Darger, and then that pretty
Yeah, I
much
want to
wreck
go
was
on board
from
with
there.
Darger and watch this as it all unfolds. And it's so frustrating because you go, why don't you just stop? You can't stop. You're going for it, and you're trying to get these positions, and you're going to see, oh, man, just nowhere to go.
Oh.
Whole track was blocked.
What a hard hit there for the 57. I mean, like you said, nowhere to go. Wow. Hard hit. Unfortunately, Doug Betts has pulled it behind the wall, so unfortunate to see there, but appreciate your comment. Love that you're loving the broadcast, and if you're watching, give us a subscription. We always would love to have the support here from VSpeed2, and a thumbs up if you're enjoying the race here tonight from Gateway here, or the Worldwide Technology Raceway here in St. Louis. Great racing so far, as Miguel Colon still your leader, 82 laps in, and I think with that wreck right there pretty much solidifies that this race will probably be shortened because of time. So what will this do? What about the guys that pitted? My question is, Chris Hudson, if we look at that wreck on the replay screen, Chris Hudson was coming into pit lane. Did he get his penalty served is the question.
Yeah, I mean, he came to a complete stop, so I don't know what it was for. You know, it's really hard to say without. We'd love to be able to bring him up here and just ask him ourselves, but not able to do that as nobody's in Discord. So
all right.
he comes in 6.6 seconds, and it's really hard to say exactly what happened.
Yeah, okay. It has been official. It has been official by the admin, David Anderson. This race has been shortened due to time. We're not sure how many laps that's going to be, but looking at about 45 minutes left. You look at the laps, 83 of 160. I think we're looking at a race to lap 140, I think is what we're going to be looking at here. That might be to the end. Lap 140, lap 130 if cautions keep coming out. This could be maybe only 50, 60 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, I mean, the elapsed time right now is 30 seconds from the hour, and then the race shows about 35 minutes. So I think we've got about
45 minutes.
No, it's just 35 minutes left in this race.
35?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
so,
ATVO actually gives sort of an estimate there. And the actual elapsed time right now is 59
Oh, yeah, you're right. We got 35.
minutes. Yeah, 59 minutes and 52 seconds. So we're about to hit 1 hour. And the race is actually timed at 1 hour and 35 minutes. So 35 minutes of racing. If you're one of those guys, if you're a Miguel Colon and you're good out front, but if you're one of those guys in the back, Brett Stevens, those drivers, you know, as far as saving tires, don't know if you got to have time to do that.
No. I mean, wow, this is going to be interesting here. I mean, if you're turning 35-second lap times and you only got 35 to go, I mean, oh man, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll try to keep you. I can't force it to show the time up there, but we'll keep you updated on the time as we go, and that way we can let everybody know how the race is going to end up. But we're definitely not going to make it to 160 here. So, man, you know, another great race in this series. I've loved the Champion Motorsports Friday Night Truck Series. It's just been a blast. The open setups have been a lot of fun. The guys who race here, and maybe gals, I don't know, are top-notch drivers, and tonight's just another one of those amazing races that I just can't wait to see how it ends, you know?
It doesn't get better, and with the time as a factor, it could get even more crazy. Front row, your top two in points, Miguel Colon, Kyle Smith, into the restart zone they go, stack up and back green. Colon gets away, solid restart, but here comes Brian Schabelsky in the 85, Davis Braun, Dennis Crosby, all closing up into the picture. How about David Anderson? Maybe with those fresh tires, does he have a chance to get up here? Here comes Brett Stevens, 2 tires. Gets by Anderson. He'll move up to 6th. 3 wide in the back. Chris Hudson making a pass on Rodney Campbell. And, oh no, Chris Hudson serving that penalty.
Yeah, Brett Stevens looking fast already with those 2 tires. Really surprised he took 2 tires. I can't believe that, but you know, that's positions gained on the track, and he already felt like he was faster. So, you know, if this thing goes green, I mean, I don't know if we'll need to pit in 35 minutes. So, Brett Stevens feeling like it's really good. But the battle for the lead is starting to pick up. Is Miguel Colon under fire from Kyle Smith as he's right to the back bumper. And that gummit, if you ain't if it doesn't happen every single race, Kyle Smith up at the front, battling for the lead when it counts. He's going to go around on the outside.
Here he goes to the outside of the 87 of Cologne. He'll look outside. He'll try to cross over. Won't have the run. Stevens gets by Crosby in the 22, but Smith, big run down the front stretch. And I know we have the camera on Kyle Smith. I'm curious, is there a laser focus or is there a laid back, calm down like he was early in this race? From what I can see, a little more laid back here. He's all over the 87 here. He puts his hand behind his shoulder, a little brush of the hair, and then gets back to it, 2 hands on the wheel into turn number 3. Right now, Smith just doesn't have enough pace for the 87 at the moment. Schabowski, Braun, and then Stevens close up for this battle here for third on the way back to fifth.
He gets loose!
Oh, Smith loose!
Oh my goodness, what a save. He had to touch his nose. Yeah. He had to touch his nose. He got a little nervous after that one. He said, ooh, he got his blood pressure up for sure. You see the eyebrows go up. His eyebrows went up into his hair, and he good grief.
I told out the cameras. I like seeing the reactions of these drivers behind the wheel. Yeah, they're working in the car as well. As Stevens now gets by Braun, and now up to fourth, sets his eyes on Schabowski. And like we said, this time here, 32 minutes, is this going to be enough for either Stevens, who's going to be on 2 tires? How will that affect his handling as well?
He's got the inside track on Schabowski here down the front straightaway. He was a little bit faster the last lap, not this time as he was making a pass, but a little bit faster than Miguel Colon. So up to third place, he's moving.
He is indeed moving, and Schabowski now falls back to fourth. Now Davis Braun looking to get that position away. Dennis Crosby a little bit away. He's about 3 or 4 truck lengths back. And Cologne has opened up about a second lead, about 0.8 of a second lead over Kyle Smith, and a 2-second lead over Brett Stevens. The Stevens with the tire advantage might have something to say before it's all said and done here tonight at Gateway. And I'll tell you what, if a caution comes out, I think the upper hand goes to Cologne here to win this race, because Stevens is going to need this race to go green.
Yeah, and Miguel Colon, in everybody's horror, he's still laying down the fastest laps on the track. And so it really surprised as we watch Davis Braun go to the inside of Schabowski and take over that 4th position. So just new tires making a big difference here, even though Davis Braun pitted at the same time as Schabowski, so I don't know the tire difference. But he's definitely had some troubles. Been at the back, and he's made his way back up to the front. He was running up front here early, so he's back where he belongs.
From a spin to up in the top 5, I wouldn't say that's too bad here for the 24. Good rebound here. Dennis Crosby, also good rebound, was involved in that incident. He's in 6th, right on the back bumper, or not on the back bumper, but about 2 or 3 tenths away from Schabowski. And I think the big winner out of all of that was the 78 of David Anderson. He's up in 7th, a lot of track position for the 78th truck, and on board with Dennis Crosby here. Ford Racing, Ford Performance truck. He's doing a great job in that Ford F-150, having a solid run here tonight.
Got a big smile on his face too, Alex.
Yeah, big smile.
And I think
love that
Ford logo in the back. They always said in school you always circled your answers, and that's exactly what goes on back there with
they
that
sure
Ford
did.
Racing.
I can't tell. I can't tell what hat he's wearing. Is that his own hat, or is that a Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano hat? I really can't tell. I think it's actually his own hat. I like that. He's a 22. I like that. That's cool. Got a lot of branding there and heck, he's repping. He's got the Ford jersey. I want to say that's it's a Brad Keselowski jersey he's wearing. So maybe a little Roush Fenway Keselowski logo I can see there on the side, either Busch or Keselowski, but Crosby all over.
Goodness, you can see
the brakes.
You can see he backed up in his chair. He was like, oh goodness, you can see he's all on the wheel trying to go around Schabowski. Yeah,
he's there to the outside of Schabowski and into the top 5, but there goes David Anderson taking it 3 wide down to the inside. Anderson now underneath a shallow entry, underneath the 85 of Schabowski, moves him up the track, and Anderson up into the 5th or the 6th place position. Schabowski back down to 7th. And how about Michael Parker? Took the wave around that last caution up to 8th.
Yeah, wow, these dudes are driving also. They're just driving the wheels off it here, taking advantage of whatever they can get. And Schabowski just going in the wrong direction here on this run. I'm sure if he has a set of tires left, he'd love to come down and get them at some point, hoping for a caution. But up front, Miguel Colon has about a 1 second lead over Kyle Smith, but Kyle Smith now under fire from you-know-who. Ding, Brett Stevens going to be there in that 3rd position. He is slowly catching these guys about 2 tenths faster a lap that Brett Stevens is with those 2 tires. So Brett Stevens got to be feeling really, really good right now.
I think if you're Brett Stevens, you don't want there to be a caution. And I think right now, looking at the way this field's racing, it's possible. A lot of guys on different strategy here, different tire strategies. You've got fresh tires, you have a lot more corner speed than some guys with older tires. And I think I'm starting to realize that as well. And how about Stephen Knight? I think he took tires that last stop, and he's really starting to turn some good times. Actually, the fastest truck on the racetrack that last time.
Yeah, last lap by 34.718. Miguel Colon 34.951. So Stephen Knight had a really great lap. Not as good one this time around.
Smith loose off of the turn number 2 again. Man, he is wheeling that truck. That truck has been loose all night, and he is just up on the wheel. Got loose, allowed Stevens to close in about 2 or 3 truck lengths there. And these guys are slowly but surely reeling in the 87 of Cologne. And we got to think, Miguel Cologne and Kyle Smith, if this race goes green at the end, they have to pit. There's no way they can make it.
Yeah, well, it's just so hard to know because right now we're 1 hour and 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and we have an hour and 35. So we're less than 30 minutes away from the end of this race. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know when the right call is. Yeah. Because you're going to go a lap down if you can, even if you're one of the front runners up here. So you're going to go a lap down. So you just, it's going to be one of those things where maybe luck plays a factor in the way this thing.
But are the tires going to be that big of a difference? I mean, we know Cologne has a good truck in the short to mid run, especially with fresh tires on it. Would it be enough for him to go all the way around the track and get by maybe for the lead here? I mean, right now, I don't know how much fuel they can get. If they can get 60 laps on fuel, I think Brett Stevens is going to be cutting close on fuel, but I think he should be fine. We know that the top 2, well, we know everybody in the top 5 except Brett Stevens has to pit again. There's no way they can make it on fuel, I don't think.
Yeah, and at 25 minutes left in this race, part of me wonders if you're up here at the front, in the top 3. If you're up here in the top 3, I wonder if you just don't come down pit. It's Kyle Smith.
Oh my goodness!
There, but I wonder if you don't come down pit road and just take fuel only, just for that quicker pit stop, and knowing that you only have 25 minutes left. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're
Cologne and Smith, you got to pit soon. Get those fresh tires, utilize them to your advantage. I think you pit maybe within the next 10, 15 laps to set yourself up for at least another 12. I think if I had to guess right now, there's about 35, 40 laps to go in this race.
Brett Stevens just continues to apply the pressure on that 55 Toyota. Kyle Smith doing an admirable job of trying to maintain that second position, but you can already see that 55 truck starting to fade just like in that first run, and Brett Stevens doing what he did last time, just being patient, waiting for the opportunity to strike, and I think it's going to be coming pretty soon.
It looks like it, man. Smith just doesn't have the tires that Stevens has, and I know Stevens is on 2, which is going to be interesting to see later in this race. How much does that affect his handling when he had 4? And honestly, Davis Brown, he's been in this all night and has been fighting all night. Got spun out, saved it, got a little contact with the wall, got the damage fixed, and look at this. Took tires, and look at he's back in the top 5, having a great run, and he's close to Stevens. And if Stevens and Smith get together, I think he can get right on by. But Stevens, I'll tell you, he's got to make quick work of Smith, and I think he will, but he's got to get around him soon. Smith's doing a great job holding him off here, but he just loses that rear end on the exit there and just can't seem to get the throttle down. But right now, it's interesting to see what's going on here. And how about Chris Hudson? Served his penalty, unfortunately, but he's 15th now, and he has those 4 fresh tires that everybody else had. And I think Chris Hudson might have had something for Brett Stevens, but unfortunately, a penalty is going to cost him any chance at the win tonight.
Yeah, as we continue to spin our wheels up here in the booth, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's just crazy. But right now, I mean, the battle for second is wide open. You've got 2 tires in Brett Stevens, potential 4 tires in Davis Braun, and Kyle Smith just trying to hang on with those older tires. So this battle is going to continue as we're getting close to about 20 minutes left in this race. So time is running out quickly. What's going to happen with the pit strategy? I mean, there's just so many questions that I can't wait. Dadgummit, I can't wait to see the answers to.
I know. Unfortunately, Davis Braun's going to have to pit as well. He's got 45 laps on his tires, so he's going to have to pit. Doing a great job conserving them. I think Kyle Smith's just struggling with that exit. He just can't seem to get the throttle down, and it's killing him down these straightaways. As Stevens now has a big run here down the backstretch in the draft. Just won't have anything for him right now. And this is usually the part of the race where you're going to start seeing Stevens' car really start coming in here. His truck will really start turning the center, getting the runs off. We saw it earlier in this race when he took the lead from Miguel Colon, who's, by the way, led the most laps here. I think you're going to see something here from Brett Stevens. It's just, can he make it on fuel where we know these top 5, 4 of the top 5 cannot?
Yeah, I mean,
the thing I think Stevens is hoping for, no caution.
Yes.
Caution comes out, his strategy is ruined.
Stevens pitted 28 laps ago. The leaders, Miguel Colon, Kyle Smith, 47, 46 respectively. Davis Braun behind Brett Stevens, 46 laps ago.
David Anderson too.
So Dennis Crosby, yeah. So Brett Stevens, David Anderson seem like they're in pretty good position if we get to the end of this thing and the others have to pit. So, and I think honestly at this point, I think Brett Stevens and David Anderson are good to go. So the big question is going to be these drivers all around.
Think about David Anderson. David Anderson can play 2 ways. He has 2 cars he can play in his deck here. He still has another set of tires in the pits. I think there's room there where he can play both sides if he wants to. The one interesting one as well, Stephen Knight. Stephen Knight took 4 tires. He's been turning really good lap times right around the leaders, and he's caught up to the back of this train here with Michael Parker, Brian Shabelski. He's got better tires. He can make it to the end too. He's possibly somebody you could throw your hat in and say maybe he can get a top 5 out of this thing if everything goes right. And right now I'm looking here. Stevens is struggling behind the 55 of Smith, although he has the fresher tires. He only took 2. If he had 4, I think it'd be a different story. But with 2 tires, I think he's struggling a little bit more with that handling here, especially being behind the 55.
Yeah, I mean, how much of it's struggling? How much of it just knowing that these guys got to pit and you don't?
You got a good gap.
It's like I say, we're up here spinning our wheels just because there's so much going on. It's just such an exciting series that we're trying to do the multiverse of Champion Motorsports, and we're trying to work through all the threads and figure out how this is all going to end. Because there's just so much that can happen as Brett Stevens is going to look down to the inside on the straightaway. Doesn't quite have the run, but he's just letting Kyle Smith know he's there, which he's seen Kyle, really have overdriving the exit, really pushing that truck. Mm-hmm. And so I think maybe Stevens just trying to push him into making a mistake, making that pass a little bit easier. But, it's hard to say if Stevens is just hanging out and knowing these guys are going to have to pit, and, that way he can try to save his truck and not put it in a compromising position.
I mean, you look here, I think Brett Stevens knows he's in a good spot. The catbird seat, if you so will. Excuse me. I think, like you said, he wants to force Kyle Smith into a mistake. One mistake out of Kyle Smith, I think he'll get the run on him and be able to clear him here. And we got some lap traffic coming up as well. Right in front of Miguel Colon, I believe that's Jacques Richard. They're
Brett
also
Stevens
right
goes
there.
down to the inside here, Alec.
Oh, there we go. There was the mistake from Smith, a little bit too loose. And look at that, Kyle Smith goes down the straightaway, side drafts to the 86, but Stevens' tire advantage sends it into the corner, downshifts, gets it loose in the back end there, but he'll clear it. Smith trying the crossover. He'll look to the inside. He just can't do it. Stevens up to 2nd. Smith down to 3rd. Braun in 4th. And, Miguel Colon getting by the lap car of Jacques Richard, who's pitting. And now Stevens mounts the charge against Miguel Colon, who still might have to pit. And now David Anderson starting to pressure Dennis Crosby. And Stephen Knight has gotten by.
What I want to know right here is I want to know, now that Brett Stevens gets around Kyle Smith, what does Brett Stevens actually have? He's been just kind of riding behind Kyle, who obviously is struggling a little bit on old tires, but now we get to see what Brett Stevens could do in clean air at 1.1 seconds behind the leader with less than 20 minutes left to go in this race. So I'm expecting to see Brett Stevens get up there and maybe challenge for the lead soon. He's under a second now. So he's moving.
Yeah, he's starting to put the pedal down, and he's starting to make that truck haul the mail here. And I'll tell you what, changed inside the top 5. David Anderson got by Dennis Crosby in the 78, up to 5th, helping his championship hopes as well, especially if Colon and Smith have to pit, and Stephen Knight able to get by the 50 or the 85 of Brian Shabelski. And an interesting story about Shabelski. Shabelski brought it into pit road. Oh, there it is. They cannot make it, so Shabelski just brought it into Smith now, bringing it in. This now sets up what will be the finish of this race, especially with only 18 minutes to go. Smith brings it down to pit lane. Does this force the hand of Miguel Colon?
I think it does. I think, my goodness, if Kyle Smith can't make it, Miguel Colon definitely can't make it. So
if you're looking at, we got 18 minutes left in this race. That's about another 23, 24 laps. Oh wait, Brett Stevens is pitting.
Yeah, he sure is. You're right. So he couldn't make it either.
Now the question is, maybe did he save a set under those green flag pit stops? Is it possible? He brings it in. Davis Braun brings it in. Wow, this race is going to get interesting. David Anderson keeps it out on the racetrack. Kyle Smith just exiting pit road. I'm curious to see what do the Jacks do here for the 86 of Brett Stevens, that Toyota TRD Tundra Pro. Can he do they have 4 tires in the box?
Yeah, we're going to see here as he comes to stop. Don't want to slide here for sure. Waiting on the Jacks.
Like
no Jack. One side, there it is.
Sides go up.
That's right sides. What about left sides? All 4 tires.
Wow, he had 4 tires. Interesting. He did save a set, but look at 24. Davis Braun is also in this thing, and Kyle Smith is coming down the front stretch. Can Stevens clear the 86? He'll get by the 24, but can he get by the 86?
Yeah, he's really trying to dig here. He's going to get the 24, but I don't think he's going to get the 86.
I know the 24 is going to be on cold tires, but Stevens jumps Smith again. Smith to third, but now look at Davis Braun. He's there. He doesn't want to cause a caution, though.
Yeah, Kyle Smith. Oh, Kyle's going to get loose here.
And Braun clears. Braun now will cycle up ahead of the 55. Miguel Colon still on the racetrack.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, there's no way he can make it to the end of this thing. I mean, he's got 15 minutes left. He's not going to make it. We'll try to list it. I mean, he's still shifting down to third, so obviously no attempts to save fuel.
I think David Anderson is... No, David Anderson. Now, the question is, does David Anderson have enough? Can he make it to the end?
Yeah, just trying to listen as I go on board with these drivers and see. You can hear he's not shifting there, so, when you shift up in third, you use more RPM, which uses more fuel, so David might be trying to save, maybe trying to get to the end. I was trying to see if anybody was clutching. But no shifting to third, only 4th gear, so David might, if he's been able to do that the whole time, he might be able to make it.
The question, but he's got to worry about the car behind him, not the 23, but Stephen Knight in the 20. We haven't talked about him all night. He has a chance at winning this race as well. He pitted the same lap as David Anderson, and he's starting to pit. He's trying to close, but Miguel Colon sends it into pit road. That's going to be close.
That might be a penalty.
He made it.
Yeah, if you hit that cone, that is considered a penalty. So that was extremely close
to win. And I think Davis Braun and Stevens are going to jump him, as well as Kyle Smith. The question is, how much will those fresh tires be of help? Because we know how good he's been on the shorter runs. Only 15 minutes to go in this race. That's looking about 20 laps.
Yeah, it is quickly starting to come together, and I just don't know. 4 tires here for Miguel Colon.
They've already passed him. They've already passed him down the front stretch.
I mean, he will have, like you said, 15 minutes to make it up with those newer tires. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think that undercut was the right call. Miguel staying out a little bit too long, but
I think it's possible. That truck is fast enough to keep up here. But now the question shifts here. David Anderson, Stephen Knight, do they have a chance at making it to the end on fuel and tires?
Michael Parker, no way. He's been on the track for 56. Yeah, there's no way the 23.
Now, it makes me wonder, if 56, if he can go 56 laps on fuel, that gives David Anderson another 14 extra laps on fuel to be safe. Now another 14 laps at the moment.
Yeah, just...
How many laps to go are in this race? We're not sure. Time is a factor here. About 14 minutes to go, closing up on 10 minutes to go. If that's the case, we got about 15 to 16 laps to go.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I'm here for it, baby. I love this. I love these guys. I mean, these guys are road racers, but man, do they put on a great oval show and give it that little bit of, you know how you get I don't know if you're drinking age there, Alec. I don't think you are, but
I don't think I am.
but man, sometimes there's that little bit of twist you put down in that drink that makes it that little bit better. Give it that little bit of twang in there. And that's what they do here. That's what they do in this. They add that road course twang to this oval racing with the time limits, with the different pit strategies. And boy, it's exciting. Yeah, Stephen Knight
independent road. So does this mean David Anderson cannot make it on fuel? And if it does, then the battle will be between Brett Stevens, David Braun, Kyle Smith. The real question, what about Max Cost, Rodney Campbell? Are they saving fuel, but they're still a little bit, they're not as far ahead as Anderson is. Even, and let me throw another wrench into this. Mike Tyler is in second, and he has 6 extra laps of fuel than David Anderson does.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. We're getting down to about 15 minutes left in this race. Actually, a little bit less than 15. That's actually inaccurate because we're at 1 hour 23 minutes, and we have 1 hour 35 minutes in this race.
A lot of traffic as the timer has just came onto the board. There's only 15 minutes to go in this race. Kyle Smith, Davis Braun, they are navigating heavy traffic right now, and that has allowed the 24 to catch up to the 86, and it's also allowing the 87 to reel these guys in 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, Miguel Colon's definitely going to catch up to these guys, but man, this is a mess that these guys are dealing with. Is Brett Stevens
and Braun have cleared Smith, about to clear Costa. Campbell has airs to get through. Right now, David Anderson still on the racetrack. The shifting focus might be Mike Tyler, who did take tires, who does have 6 laps extra fuel in that 45 truck. Can he make it the distance with 14 minutes to go in this race? And can he hold out these guys on fresher tires?
I'm just really impressed with David Anderson at the moment. I don't think he's got enough to make it, especially if Stephen Knight pitted. I think
Michael Parker just brought it in. Michael Parker went 62 laps, actually.
Yeah, so it's definitely possible. It's just going to be close. I just don't know who's going to be able to pull this off and if it's going to be worth the effort, because right now, I mean, the battle for third place is between these drivers right here. Kyle Smith not too far behind, and so I don't know if if they're going to be able to run them down or not. But can David Anderson, Mike Tyler make it?
And this heavy traffic is absolutely hurting Brett Stevens, and it's hurting these 3 guys right here, because if you look here in the middle of 1 and 2, Colon is coming. He will have to navigate through this traffic as well, but that truck, that Snap-on Toyota Tundra, is hauling the mail through the field. He's led 87 laps in this race. He's looking to bring home his 2nd win in a row, but look at all the traffic ahead of him that he's going to have to navigate as well. The top 2 that will cycle to the lead if Anderson and Tyler have to pit. Stevens, Braun, they have pulled away from this traffic as Colon taps the wall. Kyle Smith, though, has struggled to get around these cars.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt Miguel Colon is way faster than everybody up here. As right now, Brett Stevens going to be side by side with Chris Hudson, who is in the 14th position. This is not for position. Not for position, but David Braun right behind him. So he's got to get past these guys as quickly as possible. But, yeah, I mean, man, right now Miguel Colon up to 6th. He is lapping quite a bit faster than these guys. I mean, half a second over anybody else.
Way fresher tires than those guys. Ahead of them, 12 minutes to go, estimating about 10 laps to go in this race here. Maybe a little bit more, 10 to 12 laps to go in this race here.
Gets a little bit loose off the corner. Right rear of Miguel Colon.
He's pushing.
He's giving her all she's got.
He knows. And now the question is, if there are 10 laps to go, can David Anderson or Mike Tyler make it on fuel? They're 45 laps in for the 45 of Tyler. David Anderson, 51 laps on fuel. So far here, Tyler, I think, is in the best position, but he's got a 6-second gap over Brett Stevens, who is lapping about a half a second faster.
Yeah. man, I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Mike Tyler started in 16th. To be able to get a win or even a podium would be amazing. But right now, David Anderson, that's the big question. He has stayed out over 52 laps. We talked about it. Somebody running 60 laps, and so he's got about 8 laps to go in this stint. I don't know. We're less than 10 minutes. Like I said, the counter up there is wrong. We're actually less than 10 minutes now, so it's going to be extremely close. I think if David, he's got 8.6 seconds away from second place, Mike Tyler. 14 seconds. Hold on, Alec. 14 seconds back to third place, so he can actually start saving a little bit more and try to roll that car a little bit longer and make it.
Cologne underneath Smith. Smith really loose off at turn number 4. Cologne will get the position, but it's going to hold him up a little bit. Cologne now, that last time, still a little bit slower than Stevens and Braun. Braun, he's also a contender in this race. I think I got to wonder, what about Mike Tyler? Mike Tyler has way more fuel than Anderson. Caution!
Oh, no!
Racetrack!
Oh, no, that's not what we wanted to see.
Campbell, Smith is in it as well, and I believe Maynard is in it as well. Not what you want to see if you're Mike Tyler, David Anderson, even Brett Stevens and Braun Cologne in a good spot.
Oh, man, that just breaks my heart. I wanted to see that play out so badly.
That was going to be good. But now you got to wonder, David Anderson and Mike Tyler can pit for tires.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's check this replay. Check this replay out. It's Alex Maynard and the 62 truck of Rodney Campbell, and no contact was made. Just Alex Maynard just gets loose and goes around.
Nowhere to go for Campbell. I think even Parker got in it as well. Yeah, Michael Parker in it as well. Stephen Knight tried to check. How about Dennis Crosby?
Yeah, Dennis Crosby sneaking through there.
Right through the middle.
Yeah.
Pardon the Red Seas, and I think Knight came to a stop, and that was right in front of your leader, David Anderson, who just missed it. But now Anderson, Mike Tyler, bringing it down to pit road, will cycle the lead to Brett Stevens, and now Miguel Colon will restart third. Davis Braun will be in second, Smith fourth. But does Anderson have a set of 4 fresh Goodyear tires? Yes, he does. Don't count out David Anderson to win this race. Again, will not be making it to the end. We're going to have about 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, we're right at 5.5 minutes. So
3 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a 4 or 5 lap shootout.
Yeah. David Anderson is going to come out around in the 8th position, so it's definitely possible if he can really get with it. But right now, Brett Stevens has got to feel the best because he's going to start out front, and he's going to be able to pull away. And but you know who I really think is happy to see that is Miguel Colon. I mean, he's going to start third place, fresher tires. He was lapping quite a bit faster. This is the breath of life that he needed to get up there and get this win back. I mean, just fell right into his lap. Yeah, David Anderson going to be quite a few rows back, I think.
Mike Tyler.
I don't know.
Mike Tyler took 2 tires, Robitaille getting his lap back. So yes, like you said, you're going to have Anderson and Tyler on fresh tires. Anderson 4, Tyler with 2. The question is, when do we go back green? I'd hate to see this race end under caution as the caution flag's still out. Less than 5 minutes to go. This could be a 2 to 1 lap shootout, most likely a 2 to 3 lap shootout. Once everything gets situated as cars continuing to pit road, 2 laps until green flag racing here from Gateway. But man, what a race. Definitely exceeded expectations for what I thought Gateway could deliver. But man, what a race.
I mean, it's every week. I'm not surprised anymore. I think I was surprised. I think I was surprised the first couple races, but I'm not surprised anymore that these guys can put on a show, make it exciting. It really makes our job a whole lot easier when we don't have to make up stuff to talk about. They have the stuff to talk about for sure, and all this different strategy calls, all the different levers being pulled, and all this type of stuff. And now at the end, it's just going to be a 3 or 4 lap shootout as we are 1 minute 31 seconds in out of 1 hour, or excuse me, 1 hour 31 minutes in out of 1 hour and 35 minutes. So we still have a couple more laps. We may have just a 1 or 2 lap shootout.
It might be a 1 or 2 lap shootout. I think they'll get 1 to green, which will set us up for about a 3 or 4 lap shootout here to the end. Caution will end the race, unfortunately, but Man, what a great race we've been treated to tonight. Let's see what the Pace Trucks lights will do as they cross the line.
Yeah, 1 degree.
Off. 1 to green. Stevens to the inside. Braun to the outside. Smith, Cologne, and Sabelski will be your top 5, followed by Michael Parker, Dennis Crosby, and then the first truck on 4 fresh Goodyears, David Anderson and Mike Tyler, who has 2 fresh Goodyears on that truck. Anderson is going to have to be on a charge here coming to the end of this race. Looking at the time, they'll restart with about 2 minutes, which should set us up for about 4 to 5 laps to go in this race. A caution comes out. Race will most likely be over. The picture-in-picture here for V-Speed 2, David Anderson's on board in the 78 truck, but it's between Stevens, Braun, Cologne, Smith, and Schabelski, your top 5, as the Pace truck will pull into pit lane. It's going to get exciting, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't like what you're seeing, I don't even know what to tell you, because this is going to be a barn burner to finish here at Gateway. The Pace truck will pull off the field in the hands of Brett Stevens and Davis Braun into the Geico restart zone. They will go. The 86, 24, battling for the win. 3 or 4 to go. Green flag back out in the air. Cologne, great restart. Looks to the bottom. Stevens goes to cover. Cologne to the inside. 3 wide into turn 1. Braun holds up. Cologne backs the corner up. Now everybody gets through cleanly. 3 wide for 5th. Between the 23, the 85, and the 22. Everybody keeps it clean. Here comes the 78 of David Anderson. Can he work those fresh tires to the win? Stevens pulls him out of 3. Truck late lead into 3.
Yeah, about a minute and a half. How many laps are we going to have here to the end? Does Miguel Cologne, I can't believe he backed out of it. That might have been his only shot, because Davis Braun, has been extremely fast all night long. So this is not going to be an easy task for Miguel Cologne to get around him, even if he does have the fresher tires. And so far, that's been the case. So right now, David Anderson is going to the inside of Dennis Crosby. He's up into the 6th position. Does he have enough time, though? We're less than a minute away. Once the clock clicks over to 1 minute 54, we'll have a lap after that. So
yeah, so there'll be 2 to go, I believe. 2 or 3 to go here. Does maybe Cologne or anybody have anything for Brett Stevens in the 86? Cologne closes up to the 2nd position truck of Braun here in the 24. Anderson makes the pass on Michael Parker there for 5th. Now the 78 will go into the top 5. Fresh tires on the 78. Now he'll set it
going to get loose.
Cologne gets loose off of turn number 2. What will this do? Anderson now looking underneath Smith for 4th into turn 3 and 4. Will this be the white flag is the question.
David Anderson can get to the bumper of Kyle Smith. He's got the tire advantage. Kyle tries to, and he's going to get a little bit loose, not able to get that gas going. He's going to try to block down the back straightaway. We are still not, we'll have white flag next time around, so 2 laps to go here in this race. And up front, it is a 3-way battle as Brett Stevens has fallen back a little bit into the hands of David Braun. We worried about McClone passing him, but here comes Davis Braun to maybe battle for the win.
A possible lap and a half to go into turn 3. It is a 3-horse pony show at the dog races in the middle of 3 and 4. Will this be the white flag? Nothing's shown up yet. Stevens holds on to the lead. I don't see a white flag out yet.
I don't know what's going on, but they're definitely over an hour and 35 minutes, so maybe ATVO is right. Maybe we'll get to the end of this thing. I don't know.
We just
I'm so confused.
Will there be enough, though? But there's only 13 minutes to go, so I'm not sure how much this will extend. Haven't heard anything yet. Still a 3-horse fight at the front. Cologne looking all over the back end of Braun. Will still keep you updated. If we hear white flag, we'll call it. Stevens now, and all this contact for 4th. Anderson into the side of Smith. Anderson muscles his way past, and Anderson to 4th on 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, if we do go the advertised distance, and let's say ATVO is right, 12 minutes, he may have enough time to get up there. We're looking at 20 laps to go. David Anderson is definitely a lot faster, so Miguel Cologne gets in the wall there.
There is actually 20 laps to go, which is a possibility. I see 12 minutes on the board. I think there's a possibility we can go to the end, but here comes Cologne, ascend to the inside of the 24. Braun looks down to the inside. He can't cross him over. The 87 to the lead, to 2nd. Now he'll set his eyes on the 86, so Stevens for the lead. Braun now back to third. Anderson closing in behind in fourth.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely wrong by this, but I tell you what, Miguel Colon made that move, and you know why he made that move? Because this fellow right here is moving. He is really scooting here. He's over half a second faster than these guys, and he is closing up quickly. So Miguel Colon could see that, and he had to make that move before it was too late. And, I mean, David Anderson just makes up so much time in the middle with those 4 tires.
Oh, look at that. Gotta run, just got a little loose.
Yeah, if he's just a little bit patient and tries not to get too excited, that'll be all that he needs. He's going to look down to the inside of David Braun, and I don't think it's going to even be a contest here, as he can see the lead.
It might be. Braun got at the racetrack. Anderson clears for third. The 78 loose off the corner. Now still side by side for the third position. Cologne Stevens starting to pull away a little bit, open up about a half a second gap over the third and fourth place trucks. Now Anderson dives into turn 3. He'll get the position. Now he'll set his eyes on Cologne and Stevens. 19 laps to go. The question is, are we racing to the full scheduled distance? It looks like it's possible.
Yeah, I have no idea at this point. I know what my ticker says. I know what there's 2 different timers. You see Kevin Ayers down on the apron there. Gets out of the way. Appreciate that. Oh, and Miguel Colon in the wall. He gets a little bit of, he knows that 78 is coming, and he is trying to make a move here, just really pushing that truck as hard as he can, drives it hard into the corner. But you see, David Anderson has got the grip that he needs.
We got to have the David Anderson camera. We know we have the camera. He's got to be laser focused, but it looks like that was the white flag. 1 to go, and at the line, I'm not sure. I think the white flag was taken. And now Brett Stevens is going to cross the line, the winner.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
I don't even know. I guess that was the white flag. The checkered flag has flown, and the race is official and over. And Brett Stevens is the winner of the race as the fireworks go off. And unfortunately, you could say the weather has gotten here early. Yeah, what a great race. How about David Anderson up to third, though? Cologne second, but my pick, Brett Stevens, has won the race. What a race here from Gateway on the edge of our seats all night. I hate that the race finished like that because it could have been a heck of a show if we got to the end of the race. But how about the 86? Brett Stevens leads 26 laps, starts on pole, and he finishes right where he started. Brett Stevens, your winner here tonight. From the Gateway, the Worldwide Technology Raceway here in St. Louis at Gateway. Man, what a race we saw there. I wish it didn't end like that, but it was so hard to see with the time.
Yeah, we apologize to everybody. I know it's like, well, how come you guys didn't know? We had about 3 different things that were telling us different things. iRacing was saying one, the ATVO software saying another, Laps saying another. So we just didn't know how this was going to end up based on the time that was available. And we're sorry that we didn't call the white flag, but it didn't matter. The action was all night long, and Brett Stevens come away with the victory. Well-deserved, I'd say.
Well-deserved for sure. Held off the fastest truck here tonight, Miguel Colon. Those 2 dominated the race. How about David Anderson? A solid finish in third. Great racing here as well. Let's go through our finishing results here for tonight's Gateway race here for the Champion Motorsports Truck Series. Here we'll go to our finishing order. Brett Stevens is your winner here tonight. Started first, and he finishes first. Brett Stevens winner. Miguel Colon in second. David Anderson with a hard charge, third position. Davis Braun will be held in fourth. Kyle Smith in fifth. Michael Parker, sixth. Dennis Crosby, seventh. Mike Tyler, solid finish in eighth. Stephen Knight, ninth. And Pierre Robitaille in 10th.
11th was Brian Zabelski, who just kind of fell back there towards the end. Max Cost in that 12th position. Kevin Ayers in 13th. 14th was Anthony James. 15th, Gabriel Albano. 16th, Alex Maynard. 17th, Jacques Richard. 18th, Rodney Campbell. 19th, Chris Hudson. And 20th, the couple drivers, 2 or 3 drivers who didn't get that many laps, multiple laps down. James Dargert, Larry Ford, and Doug Betts rounds out your field.
Man, what a great race we saw tonight. And how about we get our third place finisher, David Anderson. I know we have the camera pulled up, so maybe we can get him with the camera as well. Let me pull him in here and see what we got here. David Anderson, you got a copy, brother?
Hey, guys, I do.
Hey. It was a little confusing at the end with the time and the way that all went, but you took 4 tires, saved it at the end of the race there. You come home in the third place finish, best finish of the year. How you feeling after that?
Oh, I feel great. That was so much fun. What a great race. And, the cautions just kind of worked out for me. And so I had fresh tires at the end. And I think I needed maybe one, two more laps at the most, and I was going to win that race. But I was happy to see my teammate win it regardless.
Oh, Brett Stevens' teammates. So it's good to know the teams here, and I mean, a great race, entertaining from the beginning to the end with the way the tire strategy. You guys always put on great shows. That's why we love it here on VSpeed 2. Now I got to ask you, we get another 2-week hiatus, but we go to something you guys are a little more comfortable at. But it's going to be in stock cars or stock trucks, if you so will. Mid Ohio. How are you feeling about going out there?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it, guys. For starters, like you said, CMS has so much talent road racing wise. And so it'll be interesting to have these machines out there at Mid Ohio. And I've been loved watching the Real Series at Mid Ohio. That's been really cool. So figured we'd do it as well. I think it's going to be a 40 lapper. And then that's going to start the end of the season where I think we have about 5 races in a row with you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, again, congratulations on the third place finish. I'm loving the smile on your face. Is there anybody you want to thank and give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, of course, want to thank you guys. Appreciate the two of you as well as just the whole V Speed team for partnering with us and working with us and enjoying getting to know you guys and have you do the races. And then I just want to thank everybody that's a member of CMS. Not just all the guys that were out here tonight, but we've got 4,000 members now, and it's just a tremendous community. So happy to be a part of it.
That's awesome to hear. Great for the Champions Motorsports community. And again, congratulations, David. And we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks out at Mid Ohio.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good night.
You too. That's David Anderson, your third place finisher. And Miguel Colon is here. And I believe Eddie Smith's with him.
Yeah, Miguel, this is Eddie and Alec in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, you guys copy me?
We got you, Miguel. Well, man, amazing race. You led 87 laps. You seemed like early on you had the car or truck, excuse me, to win. And all the different strategies, the time limit, all the different things that came into play, and you actually had what you needed there at the end. You had the tire advantage just a little bit, about 5 laps over Brett Stevens and others around you, and then a hard charging David Anderson from behind, and just ran out of time at the end. But man, tell us about your race. How did it go for you? What were your thoughts as all that craziness was going on through the middle of the race?
Well, I didn't practice much for this race, and I was actually having a dinner with my wife and the family and having a couple of drinks before going here. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna see what I could do. And then early in the run, I was like, I cannot be possible that I'm this fast and the guys are like, falling behind way back. And then in the long run, I kind of realized I was kind of pushing too much early in the run, and then that's what we had like a late jet flag, like a lap 40 something. And when we had the restart, Brett was like, be able to go around me over there. And then I kind of changed my mindset. Okay, for the next stint, let me take it easy on the tires in the first couple laps, and then I tried to push in. But then all the time came play out and everything, so I was kind of debating what I had to do pretty early. Try to play the race for the time, but then I was thinking if it's a yellow flag comes out, later, try to have tires or enough to be able to attack at the end. Good second place, I take it. It was for me. I think it was a great race. Brett had also a good long run truck, so it was a fun race.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there at the end just trying to get up there. And what do you think was the toughest thing about this track and this truck combo? While you seem to have a pretty good feel for it, when you got back in traffic, what was the toughest part about trying to make your way through and make these passes at this type of track?
Yeah, so on the last run, I kind of figured out that I was over driving the turn one by letting roll the truck too much in the corner without using the brake. So I started kind of moving the rear brake bias to the back of the truck, and then kind of like using the brake to turn the truck mid corner, and that kind of helped me over there. But it took me like almost the whole race to try to figure that out. But I think at the end, maybe a couple more laps, I probably could attack more Brett, with the fresh tire. But also David was coming behind with super fresh tires, so I think maybe 3 laps more, they may have passed me and David and Brett for the win.
Well, pretty incredible race. Always, you guys put on a show, and tonight was no different. Just exciting from start to finish. But congratulations, Miguel. Just another fantastic finish. Led the most laps out of anybody. Come home in the second place after starting in 8th position. So congratulations. As always, man, the floor is yours. Who you got to thank? Can you sponsor shout-outs?
Well, thank you, CMS for putting this league together on Friday. Every time I have free, I will try to join. Shout out to the Sim Racing PR community also from Puerto Rico. That's our community that I race with them. I need to update my paint so I could get my real sponsors in my trucks, and then the Don't Say You Machine Shop, which is another sponsor that we have.
Well, there you have it. Miguel Colon, second place here tonight with a fantastic run to the end. Just came up a little bit short, but the man of the hour, and I think Alec is going to get caught up with right now. Alec, I think he's caught up with Brett Stevens.
I have. Brett Stevens, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
All right, well, good to hear, man. You were my pick entering this race, and you proved me right, so thank you for that. You drove a great race, battled with Miguel Colon most of this race, and you come home with the win, started on pole, get the win, you lead 26 laps. Take us through those final few laps, especially not knowing how the time was going to shape out.
Yeah, that was really strange. I don't know that I've ever had an oval race end on a timed, so I felt like I knew when we were going to be done, but yeah, we had that late restart, and I didn't get the best restart because I didn't want to accidentally jump it. And Miguel got a good restart and kind of had to block him a little bit going into one. But then I was able to clear everybody and kind of build a little bit of a gap, and then they got to racing behind me. And I think that just gave me just enough to hold on because he was really closing in on me right there at the end. And I was very stoked to see the white come out there at the end because I was like, man, I hope I have like 3 or 4 more laps to go. And I'm just thinking it's like, we're coming to the white.
Yeah, and it seemed the last 2 weeks you had that long run pace, and it seemed like it prevailed this week here from Wilkesboro, and then now here at Gateway. Next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say, completely different set of racetracks that we go to for the rest of the season, but a completely different track unlike any other. Mid-Ohio next week, especially in stock cars. How do you feel about going out and doing that?
I feel good. I don't know that I'll have the pace of Miguel. He's pretty much a road course ringer, and some of the other guys, that's what they're really really good at. So I think I'll be up there, but probably not battling for the win. But hopefully a solid top 5.
For sure. Well, again, man, congratulations on the win here tonight. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
No, just shout out to David for hosting everything and getting this going, and just looking forward to the rest of the season.
Hey, well, again, we appreciate you, and again, congratulations on your win here tonight, man. Brett Stevens, your winner here tonight, so thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Well,
and
Alec,
that's your winner, Brett Stevens.
Alec,
what a race!
He said, you said anybody think? He said, yeah, me, myself, and I.
You did a great job tonight, and that was awesome race here. Is Brett Stevens, your winner here, and a great race is man. I can't wait. I hate that we got another 2-week break, but I'm looking forward to a little bit of road racing. That's going to be something good to see, especially with these guys specializing in road racing. There's really going to see them at the top of their game, especially in stock cars. But again, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up here tonight, Eddie?
Well, just another incredible race. We talked about it all race long, all the different strategies, all the different drivers with us, all kinds of skill levels, and the different strategies really kind of threw the race for a loop with the time difference. I mean, just an overall exciting race. Love this series. Really excited to be back, and just sad that there's another 2 weeks between. I get to call the next one with you, so looking forward to that.
Hey.
So.
I'm looking forward to it. I know we got some fun stuff coming up next week, especially for on the regular VSP channel. But again, thank you to all who tuned in here tonight. Again, thank you to all the race sponsors, IRTES, Champion Circle, and Storm Gang here for all their support of the Champion Motorsports racing here, the Truck Series, and just an awesome race again by these guys. And again, happy to be calling it here from V Speed. Thank you to Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper for all they do here for us. Eddie Smith for doing production here, and calling the action here tonight was myself, Alec Martinez, and as well with Eddie Smith. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched here tonight's racing action from Gateway. And hopefully, yes, subscribe
to V Speed, V Speed 2, and V Speed Racing Network. Get all three of them. That way we got all three. We got 3 channels now to bring you this type of action. So go check them all out.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. I love the energy for that.
Let's go.
Of course, go subscribe. It's great here. We appreciate everybody who tuned in here tonight. Again, like Eddie said, subscribe and stay tuned to all our social media pages and as well our YouTube channels here. Again, thank you to everybody here at V-Speed for all they do. Eddie for production. This has been a production of V-Speed here tonight. Again, congrats to Brett Stevens here, your winner tonight. We'll see you next time in 2 weeks for Mid-Ohio. Have a wonderful night, everybody.